Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Dora and this is my intro and finale to Pan That Palette. I am the most excited about this project. It's become my favorite project, certainly my favorite eyeshadow project recently. And I really think that I can finish the palette that I've chosen to pan in 2025. So, okay, before we get into all of that though, I am really close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, so I'd love for you to come and join me, especially if you've got a YouTube channel yourself. You know exactly how much work and heart and soul and effort we put into our channels and our videos and the editing and everything. So thank you so much in advance. Right, I think I'm going to kick off with the finale for my previous Pan That palette. I've been working on this palette for 2 years now, and this is the Revolution Kombucha Kiss palette. So here's what it was looking like a year ago. Back then, I still had all of the 16 pans. Actually, there were 4 Frankens, and out of the 16 shadows within this palette, I had hit 11 pans. The Frankens came from the Maybelline The Blush Nudes palette, which was my 2022 focus palette in Pan Those Eyeshadows, my side Pan That palette for 2023, and then at the end of 23, I pressed the remainder of what was left of that palette into this palette here. So 4 Frankens, and they are Chaos, Light Up, Heating Up, and Sizzling on the left-hand side, and then the 11 pans I had in Chaos, Spice, Charcoal, Light Up, Passion, Blazing, Sizzling, Scorching, Heating Up, All or Nothing, and the Dark Side. I know some of them are a little bit hard to spot. I'm kicking myself that I took such a terrible quality picture then, but never mind. And here is what my palette is looking like today, a year later. I have got 6 empties now, and one is very close here. It's still there. I've also managed to hit pan in absolutely everything, and you can also see that I've done a lot more frankening since then. But I'm now going to talk you through each shadow and just let you know what has happened with this shadow, how many uses, etc. Okay, kicking off with Chaos, I finished that in my April update, and it took me a total of 38 uses on this Franken shadow. Energy, I hit pan in this original yellow matte shadow after 63 uses. That's a lot. And that was around June, and then I frankened it into this bronzy brown shimmer. And I've now got a total of 58 uses on this new Franken shadow. And I am really so close to being done. I really tried very hard to have another empty for today's update or finale. But yeah, I'm not gonna force it, you know. I know it's like maybe 2-3 more uses. Of course I've got it on my lids today with a couple of other bits, but I say bits, but like, yeah, pressed glitter and whatnot, and my chosen Pan That palette as well, my new one. But here's where I'm ending with that, and I think it's still a really satisfying big pan, even though it's not completely empty yet. Spice, I frankened this in February, and I've got 45 uses on this in total now. This is one of the 3 represses I did in between my last update and today, where I repressed Energy, Spice, and Passion. I'm gonna link that video up here for you. Charcoal, the first original shadow that's still in here, I've got a total of 66 uses on this. Moving on to Light Up here, another empty. I finished this in my July-August update, and it took me 36 uses on this Franken shadow. Heat, another original. I hit pan on this after 39 uses at my July-August update, and I'm now at a total of 52 uses. Passion, I frankened in February as well, and I repressed it recently, and I'm now at a total of 32 uses, and I dabbed that all over my lid today. Yeah, under the pressed glitter. On top of Energy, that is on top of another lid setting shade that I'm going to show you soon. Fiery, another original. I hit pan in this shadow in September after 68 uses, and I'm now at a total of 74 uses on the shadow. Blazing, this already had pan. It's an original, and I am at 61 uses in total. Sizzling, I finished in my February update, and it took me a total of 88 uses to finish it. It was a inner corner highlight shadow. Rebel was out of here by my May update, and I had then repressed it into a face powder. I frankened it with a Revolution matte setting powder. I ended up finishing that. I'm not exactly sure when that was, but I know that I had 95 uses on it before I took it out and repressed it and frankened it. Scorching, I finished in September, and it took me 35 uses to finish this franken shadow. Heating Up, I was done with this by my June update, and it took me 30 uses on this franken as well. Flames, I hit pan on this for my August-July update after 24 uses, and that was in the original. Then I frankened it in September, and I've got 14 uses on this shadow since then. All or Nothing, I frankened in February, and I've got 16 uses on this shadow. And finally, The Dark Side, another original matte brown shadow here, 93 uses in total. So this is where I'm finishing with this palette. It's kind of hard for me to put it away. I would still like to continue to work on this in 2025. However, not in this project, and also not for the next months. I'm going to put this away, and then it's going to roll into a different eyeshadow project. Yes. Because I have been showing it in my updates recently as well. I've been working on a couple of shadows in this Catrice palette here. This is the limited edition Tropic Exotic eyeshadow palette in CO1 Tropic Escape. And I wanted to hit 2 pans in here, and I managed to finally hit the second pan. So yeah, this brow bone shadow, it took me 89 uses to hit pan. I'm so glad it happened. This was part of Duty Power Battleship, which I managed to complete. I managed to sink all the ships on Christmas Eve. Yes. Yeah, such a fun challenge that I played over on Instagram with my mate Billy. And I think that took away a lot from finishing more in my main pan that palette, because I was trying to still hit so many pans. So for 2025, I am going to be working on one eyeshadow palette that I'm trying to finish completely. And then also I want to bring in a BYOP. This is a build your own palette. It's a project that was created by Jessica Lee and Dana, who are linked down below. And I think it's really, really fun. So I would like to include that within this project for this year, but with very low-key goals. I'm going to show you that once I've shown you my chosen PTP for this year. Back in autumn, I posted a video where I showed you 4 pan that palette options. And after that video, I quickly whittled it down to 2. I'm going to show you the 2 that I kicked out of the race quite quickly, and the one that got the least votes from all of you in the comments was this Urban Decay Prince palette. Actually, it's called You Got the Look, and here's what this looks like. It's very pretty, but yeah, there are definitely some shadows in here that I would struggle with. And I think because it's my only Urban Decay palette, I'm not entirely in a rush to pan it and to kick it out. It likes to appear in projects here and there. I've still got some of the top row shadows in 50 Shades of Brown that I'm doing very low-key this year. Well, it finishes in April actually. The other palette that I really want to hold on to is the Coloured Rain Queen of Hearts palette that I got from Louise, who's linked down below. And here's what this one looks like. I really like this colour story. I think there's some beautiful shadows in here, especially those shimmers. And I'm just not in a rush to pan this either, especially because it's a discontinued palette now. And it's got some sentimental value for me. It's my only Coloured Rain palette as well. I'm gonna hold on to it. And then I whittled it down to 2, and the one that in both videos actually, because I showed you an update on this in my last Pan That palette update. I think update number 10. It's this one here, and it's the Revolution Pro Rockstar Nude Edition palette. I've got a backup of this. This is what it looks like. Since I filmed that Help Me Choose My Pan That palette video with the 4 options, I've hit more pans, at least one more. So I've got pan in So Real. Oh yeah, expanded this one and expand those pans. Then pan in Tease and in Simplicity. And I really, really, really enjoy this palette. I was being a bit dramatic and I was saying that this was my option in terms of what my heart wants, and that the other option was what my head was saying, what the panner in me was saying. The other palette is the Barry M Black Cherry palette, a 9-pan palette, which looks like this, and which has also got 2 more pans now since I last showed it to you. One in Ripen and one in Glacé here. This is the first and only pan that I've hit in 2025 so far, just in my own time, you know, it's not in a project. And Ripen, I hit pan in this as part of Duty Pamper Battleship at the end of last year. And I used it one more time since because I loved this shadow so, so much on top of a purple eyeshadow stick. Wow, so beautiful. I think this is an insane pan expansion for just one extra use on a shadow. These pans are really shallow and I really think I can do it this year. And since I've spent more time with this palette, my heart is here now too. It's a little bit like in these rom-coms where, you know, the girl's like totally in love with the rock star and really wants him, but actually it's not really going anywhere. But meanwhile, there's her best friend who's totally in love with her, but she's not interested. But the more time she spends with her best friend, the more she realizes that, yeah, this is the one. And this is how I feel about this one. So I'm totally in love with this right now. And I just want to pan it. It's also my only Barry M palette. But I think it's probably just because, you know, this is available on the high street. It's a drugstore palette versus an indie and a high-end brand. I think I'm alright to let go of my only Barry M palette. Oh, and you know, it's the smallest palette out of this whole selection. I think it makes sense. Yeah, okay. Ooh. But I really want to say thank you to each and every one of you who commented, and especially most of you who were saying follow your heart. I think that is so beautiful and so lovely that you heard me say that and that you said, this is what you need to do. Don't listen to your head, go with your heart. I think that's super lovely and so, so kind. Oh, yeah. But then also so much love to everyone who said, pan this one, because yeah, this is what I want to do as well. So let's go through these shadows. I'm going to give you some swatches as well. Let's start off with Ripen then. And you will see that it looks kind of pinkish, cherry toned in here. But when you swatch it, it's actually a little bit more red leaning. But then, like I said, on top of a purple, oh, let me see if I can find it. No, this would just totally mess up my tripod now. But I'll wear it for you in my next update. So Ripen has obviously already got pan on it. I think I can make some really good progress on this shadow quite quickly. Next is Glacé. I hit pan on this 3 days ago, so I've used it 3 times since hitting pan. And yeah, it's a lovely buttery shadow, quite a warm highlightery shade. I think in order to finish it though, I'm gonna have to like wear it all over my lid as well, which I'm totally gonna do, you know. I'm trying to finish it. Next is Cherry Tart. So this shadow here, I've got that as a lid setting shade, which I don't normally tend to do, but you know, goals. So that's this one here. This has got a nice, decent dip going, I would say. So maybe if I continue to use this as a lid setting shade, this could be my next pan, or my first official pan in this project. Then next is the shadow called Bakewell, and I'm going to swatch it now before I've taken the footage, but just to let you know, this was completely unused when I brought this in. There we go. Okay, so actually a lot more cool tone leaning than I would imagine by looking at it in the pan. But yeah, a regular, you know, neutrally, slightly cool tone leaning brown matte. Next is Sour. I've also got a nice little bit of a dip, some disturbance in this shadow. This was also in Duty Pan My Battleship, but in 2022. And I didn't hit pan in it, as you can see. I worked out that there wouldn't be a ship hidden in this one by, you know, figuring out where I had spaces left and where I had missed ships already. This is what it looks like swatched. I think it's so, so pretty. Doesn't always quite work as a topper shade. I think it's a little bit prone to hard pan, but Billy recommended to me to alternate using a brush and your finger with the application, and then you can sort of avoid the hard pan. Yeah. And I've been doing that because I've been using it a little bit already. Next is Wild, another one with pan. I hit that in Pan Those Eyeshadows in 23, I think. And I haven't used it since. Maybe once in that demo look that I did in the Help Me Choose My Pan That palette. So this is a very orangey, bronzy, brassy type of shadow. It's pretty. I think I can make it work. It's not my favorite shadow. Then there's Juiced, a satin shade with just some very light use on there. I've used that a couple of times in my crease and absolutely loved it. I think the formula of these shadows is really, really nice. Super impactful, easy to blend, love. Next is Bitter. It's another one I hit in Pan Those Eyeshadows, probably also in 23, maybe early 24. Teeny tiny little pinhole of a pan. And yeah, of course I also ignored that one since hitting pan. And in comparison to Bakewell up here, it is a little bit warmer leaning. And a tiny little bit lighter as well. And then finally there's the shadow Poison, a matte shadow with some light use on there as well. And I've got that in my outer corner today, and I've been doing that quite a few times this year already. And I like it. I think that's a pretty color story. I'm really happy with this. I'm doing 6 different eyeshadow projects this year. However, I'm never going to be working on more than 9 palettes at a time. So I've actually downsized all of my eyeshadow projects. Yeah, this is gonna be my main focus. Because if I haven't said it already, I'm trying to finish it. I hope I'm not gonna eat my words at the end of the year. I think I can do it. My next biggest milestone is I would like to have pan in every single shadow, so that's 5 more, by spring. Spring this year is on the 20th of March at 9:01 a.m. UTC, which happens to be GMT, my time zone, right? So by that time, I would like to have pans and everything. So I'm gonna keep you posted on that goal, of course. And by the next update, I think I'm gonna try and do a level 2 of Project Level Up, Sophie Alexandra's project. So I'm going to try and do a no pan left behind, use every single shade twice, and hit 2 new pans. Right, let's look at my BYOP. I'm so excited about this. I have got 5 shadows in here that I have selected, and some of them might look familiar to you. So here is my BYOP. So these 2 top ones are depotted. These were in 24 and 2024. Obviously, I didn't manage to hit my goal of finishing them. I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to do that this year. But I'd like to continue to work on them because I haven't put any powdered cheek products into my plan to pan for this year. This is a Kiko single eyeshadow from their Smart Collection, shadow number 16. I bought it because I knew I could multitask it on my eyes and cheeks. Currently, I've been wearing it on my cheeks. I probably started with that late summer. This was also an Expand Those pan, so I did manage to expand the pan quite a bit over the past year. I'm gonna give you a swatch of it. It's very nice. I've got it as a blush topper today, actually. Here's a swatch of this shadow. So I think it matches really well here as well. It is similar to Sour, but a lot lighter. So these might work quite nicely together as well. Then this large pan here is a Franken blush or bronzer, and it's basically Sisley and Bare Minerals. I have been wearing this almost every day lately. Not today though, but yeah. I mean, I doubt I'm gonna put it on my eyes, but who knows? No, probably not. Okay. And then I've got these 3 single eyeshadows. So these first 2 shimmers are Franken's, and this one is a Natasha Denona shadow. So starting with this one here, I don't even know, like, it's just various Revolution shadows mixed together. And it's a really nice silvery purple mauvey type of shadow. And I think that's probably what's missing for me from the Black Cherry palette. I think that would just look quite nice with these other shadows here. And this is the other Franken, a more bronzy, it's got some like blue shimmer particles in there as well. But yeah, like a sort of dirty, cool toned, taupey bronze. And here's a swatch of that. And again, I think that could complement what's going on here as well. But I'm gonna have to try. I haven't tried these out yet on my eyes at all. And then I've got the Natasha Denona, my dream palette shadow called Edgy here. It's one of the cream to powder formula type shadows. And you're gonna have to help me. If you're familiar with this type of formula, what's the best way to use them? Because when I use them, they just come out a bit patchy for me. You can even see it in the swatch a little bit. But yeah, I really like this deep plum shadow, and I think that could help me to hit pan and then eventually pan as well. The shadow called Poison here from the Black Cherry, because it's quite a lot deeper, and then that way, instead of using this on my outer corners, I can wear it all over my lid and then wear Edgy on the outer corner. I think this is like a nice BYOP slash Better Together addition to my main palette, Twisty Twisty. So Better Together was of course created by Paula, aka Beauty Guru Made Me Do It, and it's part of the Fantastic Ladies Facebook group. And it's a theme where you pan a palette that complements your main palette. So here's both of these palettes together again. I'm really happy that I've got a bit of a face palette going on here as well, because I don't own any face palettes. I'm not planning on buying any until I've worked my way through my existing face products. But yeah, this is the closest I can get to a face palette. So let's say 2 cheek products here and then 3 eyeshadows. Goals for here is just, I want to just track my uses, see how far I can get. But I also want to keep it open in terms of switching shadows out at any point throughout the year. Maybe I won't even wait for an update, but then let you know about it later on and show you what I've been doing. As for the Frankens, I would like to try and hit pan in them. They are very, very shallow in here. And then decide, do I want to keep them? Do I want to re-Franken them? Do I maybe want to keep them in here and try to finish them as well? So those are my goals. No immediate goals for next time other than just tracking and just seeing what happens. All right, that was it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to get cracking on my new 2 palettes here. So that's 14 shadows in total, 12 minus the 2 cheap products. I think that's doable versus 16 here that I had originally at the beginning of the year. I hope so, at least. And yeah, I mean, I'm going down from like, I know in the summer when I did a 30-day makeup bag challenge, I had about 27 eyeshadow palettes in projects at the time. And I'm going down to 9 palettes in projects at a time. I think and I hope I am setting myself up for success here. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or night, wherever you are, and I'm sending you so much love. Take care, bye.